Welcome to the 19th episode of Season 6 TuriyaTalks. Today we have with us Ms Avani Dhruve, a life coach, and Ms Namrata Manyal, a registered dietitian and nutritionist. Our topic for discussion will be emotional eating and its effects on our lifestyle. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having us here, Ushma.
So today
Yeah,
each
it's a
individual
complete
has
pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So today, each individual has their own set of issues and set of problems that they deal with regularly. But each one of us have a different coping mechanism for the same. So some people eat, some people resort to music, and others resort to something that they enjoy the most as a coping mechanism. But eating and emotions is something that goes hand in hand. So, who is an emotional eater, and how do we identify that?
Right. So, Ushma, like you rightly mentioned, people use food as a coping mechanism, and that's exactly what emotional eating is all about. When you are unable to accept and process your emotions, and you land up using food as a temporary escape route, you feel good for a temporary brief period of time while you're eating, but then after you're done eating that food using it as an emotional mechanism, you feel 10 times more worse, because then it's the guilt
Right.
and shame attached to getting into the whole loop of emotional eating in the first phase. So someone who is unable to process their emotions and fall onto food to express,
Okay.
or to kind of get out of that emotional trap, is an emotional eater. And someone who sort of fulfills their desires and fulfills their emotions through food, and it could be any food, is someone who we can call like an emotional eater.
But is it related to our psychology? Like, is it connected somewhere to what we think about? Uh, you know, is emotional eating related to our psychology?
Yes. So, like it's simple. Like, you see everything that we do, like even for us to raise our hand, the instruction has to start from the mind, right? So
Right.
everything is operated on the level of the mind, and our mind basically works for us. Even though like sometimes it doesn't feel that way, like we are troubled by our own thoughts. But actually, what our mind wants is to be happy all the time, right? So whenever
Right.
we are feeling discomfort or distress, what it looks for is instant solutions to feel happy.
Hmm.
Now, we live in a multi-dimensional world. Like, we have ears, we hear, like audio. When we see things, they become more alive, right? And emotions are the juice that makes things more real for us, right? So when you are experiencing any sort of a thought, that thought gets converted into an emotion, and that thought comes to life for you and me,
Okay.
all of us. It's like a multi-dimensional thing. So
Right.
whenever you are experiencing certain thoughts, right? If they are happy thoughts, okay, you are in a happy state. You don't need any solution. But when you are experiencing sad thoughts, those
Hmm.
sad emotions get activated, they become alive for you, and then the brain is constantly looking for instant solutions to make happy. So it goes back to the memories. Every time you associated a good memory, like, oh, I had that pastry, it was so nice, or I went out with my friends to a certain trip and I had these happy memories. So whenever
Hmm.
a person is feeling sad, either they will look to talk to a good friend, and escape in conversations, or watch Netflix or escape into a series. So there are these different ways where we look to escape. Now, food is something that we eat 4 times a day, or sometimes even more for people who indulge in those certain type of diets. So now it's such
Right.
an easy access to just escape or look for that easy happiness in food, because you have access to it like 4 times a day at least.
Right.
So that's how like psychology and emotional eating is so hand in hand, and disorders and the mind are so hand in hand. And since the time Namrata and I've joined forces, like like the science of it goes deeper and deeper.
So, do we choose the kind of food we want to eat because our mind tells us to choose? Like, is there some kind of psychology related to that also?
So,
Yes.
your body and mind is like completely related to each other. You can't really segregate these two components. You can't say that I'm going to
Right,
deal with my body differently and I'm going to deal with my mind differently.
right,
There's no doubt about that. So, how your mind feels, your body will feel, and that's the kind of information you're going to receive, and that's the kind of communication you're going to have, and that's why you're going to choose certain foods. So, yes, choices and decision making begin in the mind. They have an impact on how your body is feeling. And that in turn sends information again to your brain or to your mind to make a choice whenever you're presented with two choices of a pastry or a chocolate or a cup of fruit, maybe, or a bowl of vegetable soup. That's how you're feeling and what your
right.
memories have been associated to these two foods. That's how you're going to make a choice, and depending on how you're feeling in your mind and in your body and the communication that happens between them.
Okay. Avni ma'am was saying something also.
No, it's exactly like what Namrata said. Like that's like the science behind the whole emotional eating and the food
Right.
that we choose.
But sometimes we don't realize even why we are entering the kitchen. Like to choose if we are hungry, like just because we are feeling hungry, or because we are in the mood of eating something. So like, what is the kind of difference between that? Like, when do you realize that you are hungry and that is the reason you are eating, or it's just another reason?
Right. You
Yes.
want to take
So
that, Arun?
basically,
Yeah.
yes. So basically here what comes into is awareness. Like we, in our day-to-day life, we are so trained that only when you are doing a certain task, you are being productive, right?
Right.
And actually thinking is considered as a waste of time in today's world. It's like action, action, action. And efficiency is directly mapped with how, quickly you finish your task. Correct? So now when
Right.
you're in the whole do world, right? It's like
Hmm.
you're just jumping from one action to the other, and most of the times, like 99% of the people, they don't even know the purpose behind what they are doing. I'm doing this work because my boss has asked me. Okay, why has your boss asked? Like, how is that going to contribute to him and to you? What is he going to learn? What are you going to learn? And how is it going to impact, that action is going to impact somebody else? Like, so, but they're so focused on completing the task, we never go and introspect into this dimension of things. That's why, people are not able to differentiate that are they eating because they are hungry, or are they eating because like they're just trying to feel better, or like trying to fix
Right.
something that they're uneasy about. So here it comes back to like getting in touch with yourself, and like doing things consciously. Like the more conscious and mindful you become every day, the more you'll be able to differentiate, am I doing this because this is what is the need of the hour, or am I doing this because I'm looking for a quick fix?
Right.
Like, am I doing this to complete the task, or am I doing this because this is the right solution for the question that I have in front of me?
Are there some
So, and
techniques to fix that?
um, yes, there are actually a lot of techniques. Actually, Namrata, would you like to take that, because Namrata is like really good with the whole coaching and emotional coaching.
Okay.
Yeah. So, actually what happens is, like Avni rightly pointed, we are in an action oriented world. And whenever we
Right.
have any free time with us, we don't know what to do with it. And a lot of
Right.
times, even boredom leads to, just eating random things. It may not be any strong emotion, but it may just be boredom, which could also be categorized as emotional eating, because after all, the boredom is also arising out of some sort of lack, right? Some sort of scarcity or some sort of lack of clarity. And that is also a form of emotional eating. We don't know what to do with our free time. So it's important to always pause and think before we act. If It's it's very commonly seen that whenever you feel any strong emotion, whether you're sad about something, upset, angry about something, whatever you are, you will directly, like you said, you directly go to the kitchen, open the fridge, and just stare at it 3 4 times, close it, then open it
Right.
again, stare at it, just with the thought that maybe something new is going to come up in the fridge now, and then I'm going to eat that.
Right.
We do that, or we may just open the kitchen cabinet and we start looking for what we have. And that's also because we're not pausing, we are not thinking, we're just directly getting up and heading to the
Hmm.
kitchen. Now with the work from home scenario, because there are still a lot of corporates and a lot of small businesses doing the work from home scenario, it's all the more easier
Right.
because you don't have to walk till the pantry. Your managers and your supervisors are not there to see you whether you're going to the pantry or not. You're home and you can anytime go and walk to the kitchen. And that's made it worse. So,
It's tougher
just
now.
a
Yeah.
yeah, and just a fight on a call with a client or just a misunderstanding with the boss, you keep the phone and head straight to the kitchen. So there's no
Right.
pause, there's no slowing down that is happening. So you need to, whenever you feel this urge of the
Mhm.
strong urge that, okay, I want to eat something now to feel better, to feel
Right.
calm, to feel comforted, to feel more powerful, just pause and sit with yourself. And even, if you just sit there with yourself for 40 seconds, 60 seconds, and just place your palm on your abdomen and just breathe. Just focus on your breath and just realize what are you feeling at that point of time and feel it instead of escaping it. Feel the anger. It's okay. It's an emotion. We all have different waves of emotion throughout the day. Feel it and learn something out of it instead of just heading straight to the kitchen and eating something. That's how you will grow. And the right kind of these experiences will also help you to disassociate emotions and food, because our
Okay.
mind is very smart, like we said in the beginning, the memory cells, they get
Right.
triggered, right? One episode of anger, you ate a bag of chips, you felt calm. So every time you feel angry, you will want to eat chips.
Right.
Once
So
you
it's a
stop
cycle.
giving it the chips, it's a cycle. It's a loop, and you're trapped in it. And the only way of escaping this loop is to be with yourself, pause, and slow down.
Also, the thing is, like, before this pandemic and before being at home all the time, whenever we would like meet friends or just go out, we would always, like, at least I would always go out for a dinner or for a lunch or to eat outside, not for any other activity. So is that somewhere related to emotional eating?
No, that isn't a very strong form of emotional eating, but you
Okay.
wanting to go out because you want to escape some kind of emotion and eat is emotional eating. But hanging out with
Okay.
friends and being that's normal social world, that's socializing. But the need to go out in order to escape an emotion, in order to escape a situation and eat is
Yeah.
emotional eating.
Okay. That is somewhere clear now, I think.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah. We'll now look at the questions in the comment section.
Sure.
What are the alternatives to emotional eating?
So there's no such thing as alternative, but it is all about becoming more mindful and connected to your self. So first is what Namrata said, like you take the pause, like before doing any activity, think,
Hmm.
connect and think about the purpose. It's very important to come back to the purpose. Second,
Okay.
it is, actually identifying your emotions and fixing on your thoughts. Like I said, everything starts from the mind, right? So it's not just
Right.
about eating, but all your activities are regulated, all your decisions are made by your mind, right? And if
Hmm.
your mind is not having very constructive thoughts and you are not doing anything about them, you are likely to make too many bad decisions, right? Food is just a reflection, right? That shows like immediate impact, like you ate something wrong and you are bloated the next morning, right? So that's
Right.
like an immediate, symptom that you get when you are making wrong decisions. But like the long term thing is that you're making wrong decisions for your life, for your goals, for your visions, for your dreams. So the right way is actually connecting and straightening out your thoughts that okay, am I thinking the right way? Is what I'm feeling good for my health? Why am I feeling this way? What can I do to solve this situation or make things right? So leaving things, generally we have this attitude, oh, let's move on.
Right.
And even though moving on is positive, but if you leave the loop unsolved or and just move
Hmm.
on like that, that's going to create problems. So it's important to complete every cycle before you start a new one.
Right. What lifestyle changes you recommend in order to avoid emotional eating?
So lifestyle changes, again, like becoming more mindful. So generally people think it is the habits that solve things for us, and there are a lot of books on habits that are out there, and there are a lot of people giving talks on habits. But one thing I will tell you, mindfulness and habits, they are actually two opposites. When you talk
Okay.
about an habit, you're just saying my I should be trained where I wake up as a robot at 6 a.m. and just do things. Now
Right.
that's completely opposite, because we live in a world which is so fast growing. You cannot act like a robot, right? You cannot do the same thing at 6 a.m. every day, because every day looks different, and you're going to struggle if you are going to, develop a habit, because
Right.
developing a habit means making yourself rigid, and this rigidity is what causes problems in our life, right? So,
Okay.
uh, lifestyle changes would be first like getting connected with yourself, uh, setting an intention, and doing things purposefully, doing things mindfully. I know this is a word that we use very often, but doing what is
Right.
required and right in the moment. This is what will help the situation, not in the short term, but also in the long term, right? And more importantly, what we actually suggest is that having at least that 15 minutes of space in a day where you reflect upon your thoughts and your emotions.
Does journaling help in this process? Like whatever you're feeling, you probably would write it down. Uh, does that help emotional eating?
Yes, journaling does help, but journaling needs to be done in a right way. So generally, people think journaling is just putting the frustrations of your mind in a book, but that doesn't help. You've
Right.
not solved anything. It is as good as yelling, on a friend on the phone. Okay, this happened and that happened, right? Like that doesn't solve anything. Um, the right way of doing things would be closing the loop, like I said. Understanding the meaning of the situation. What are
Hmm.
you feeling? How should you think differently? What should be your next move? Right?
Right.
Processing the feelings of yourself and other people involved in that entire situation. And so, like completion is what will help you, is the best lifestyle change that we can recommend. Complete everything that you do. Even, like supposing if you had a call with a client and that did not go well and you're feeling restless. Now you ask yourself questions, why am I feeling restless? Is it because I'm feeling insecure about my job? I'm feeling unsatisfied, or because, the client pointed out some things that were unreasonable, or somebody who, you close that entire loop and
Okay.
guide your mind exactly. So कैसा है कि, sorry for a little bit of Hindi, but if you do not guide your mind as to what to do next, then it is going to go back to the memories and play the automated formula.
Right.
So now it's like a constant choice that you have to make every minute. Do I want to function like a robot and just repeat what I've done in the past? Or do I want to keep learning from the present and then keep
Hmm.
evolving with new methods? It's like innovation that we keep talking about, doing things differently every time. That's what lifestyle
Right.
change is all about.
How is emotional eating connected to our lifestyle?
It's completely, I think it's inbound. It's a part of your lifestyle, it's a part of your living. And also, what happens is when you talk about lifestyle, a lot of us consider food and exercise as a part of our lifestyle, right? But lifestyle is your complete life that
Right.
incorporates your relationship with at your workplace, at home, and more importantly with yourself as well. which is a very important factor when it comes to emotional eating, because a lot of emotional eaters, whether it's undereating or overeating, do have body image issues as well. They also
Right.
have a bad relationship with food. So they look at food negatively, they look at food as a culprit. And both of these things affect the way you think about yourself. It affects your confidence. It affects the way you interact with people. It affects your relationships, your decision making, and it's all a spillover. So, what
Right.
exactly, like, if I have to summarize what happens is something went wrong. You're not trying to fix what went wrong. You're trying to eat. You're trying to
Right.
vent out on food. So the situation that went wrong is still there. It still exists. You have not gone out of it yet. So once you stop eating, that situation is going to come back in one way or the other, and you have to face it then. So it's a
Correct.
temporary escape route. You will definitely come back to it. It's going to also, what happens is, nowadays we have all of these foods and all of these things that are loaded with preservatives. They have bad quality fat, so much of sugar, this and that. And all of these preservatives, the coloring agents, the artificial flavors, any sort of preservatives that are added to these packaged foods, or sometimes even to the so-called normal foods like organic foods and all that. Not all organic foods, but just certain types of organic foods. These are going to trigger your brain to eat them more, because they're going to trigger the happy hormone once you eat them. And you'll just
Okay.
want to eat them more, and there's no pause or no stop happening because you're just mindlessly munching. You're not stopping in between, you're not pausing in between. So the more you give into these kinds of foods, the more you will want them. And that becomes like, just a complete, cycle that keeps on repeating itself. Secondly, the sleep cycle is like every time, most of the time for almost all of us is always, going for a toss. We sleep at any
Right.
time, we wake up late, and all of these things happen. That also
Right.
leads to unprocessed emotions. I'm seeing a lot of people come in and telling us that, what, we are not able to sleep at night. There are people who are up till 4 a.m., there are people who are up till 2
Right.
a.m. And unfortunately, the things that they resort to are, sleeping pills, or they just want quick solutions, like give me some, some tonic, or give me some herbal tea, or give me some medicine so that I can sleep at night. But
Right.
the whole reason of why you're not able to sleep at night is because your thoughts and your unprocessed emotions. So
Okay.
in your night hours, you are removing this on your sleep, and in your daytime hours, you're removing it on your food. And the lack of sleep is pushing you furthermore towards emotional eating because your emotions are still unprocessed. So the kind of foods that you're choosing, the kind of sleep that you have, the quantity and quality of sleep that you have, the kind of relation that you have with yourself, with others, with your food, which is also very, very important. All of these things have a direct impact on emotional eating, and that's why, yes, it is completely connected to your lifestyle and your choices and decisions as well.
Lifestyle changes don't happen overnight. How long will it take to consciously change habits?
Yeah, I think I sort of answered that because like to not aim for good habits. Please do not. Aim for mindfulness, like how you're
Yeah.
going to do things different each day. So like people have. I'll tell you what people aim for habits. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. every day, right? And
Right.
suppose that day their body was too tired and they woke up at 7 a.m., which actually is not a wrong thing because your body needed that 1 hour extra sleep. But what happens
Right.
when you wake up at 7 a.m.? You enter into the guilt, you enter into self criticism, you are in a horrible mood. Now you do not want to do anything right throughout the day because the start of the day went wrong. So now I know I've met so many people who do this where if the start of the day goes wrong, they cancel the entire day. So imagine it's only 7 a.m. and you have already made the entire day wrong.
Right.
And what also happens is that when you are like just going through habits of just going for results without going for what is it there for me to learn or what is it that I need to change within myself. What you're doing is that you are doing a lot many things wrong. You are completely repeating the wrong cycles, so the wrong relationships, the same mistakes
Okay.
in your life, not looking at a bigger aim. in life or what your potential truly is, but just trying to fix the same thing again and again, the same way, the same cycle. So, if I have to compare emotional eating, it's similar to the weight loss cycle that people go through every year, where they come up with New Year resolution with the gym. It's not that they do not make the progress; they do make the progress, and then they come back to the old pattern. So why does this happen? Because you're not, working on the root cause. We're just trying to fix the action without understanding.
Okay.
So for long-term changes, understand. Knowledge is very important. Yeah, let me put it this way. Knowledge is the key. If you're doing something without education, it will never.
So for lifestyle changes, like I have been wanting to change a certain habit, and for that I downloaded this app, okay, which is like a habit tracker, and it helps you to change that particular cycle of creating a new habit altogether. So, like with this digital era, does it really help? I mean, uh, I don't know how much it will help, but does it really help to track habits or just track in general whatever your goal is? Does tracking help with that?
So what I would say is that it's a very good start. Okay, it's
Okay,
not, nothing is wrong. It's a very good start. So say if somebody has actually indulged in a very bad habit, like supposing somebody is like a chronic smoker, right? Now obviously that is not
okay,
good, right? So when you start off with these apps, they are definitely 200% good, because at least now you're changing for something very unhealthy, you're changing into a good habit, right? But
right.
what would be the ultimate solution would be the mindfulness. So this will
Okay,
definitely help, because this actually helps you take charge. It's a start. First, you are at least in a
okay,
situation where you're feeling hopeless. You're like, I cannot do anything about my problem. So here, this app
hmm,
definitely helps you take charge, and that is a very important start to any journey. But then, what would be the next step? Like do things in a more, because you do not want to spend your entire life tracking your habits, right? You want to create, you
right,
want to create your potential, you want to create big dreams. And how will you create big dreams when you're fighting every day to wake up at 6 a.m.?
right,
So much energy going in micromanagement. When are you going to create big things, right? Like, so it is a very good start. So if you are on such apps, and these apps definitely will help. We never say no for anything. We always go for an inclusive approach. But yes, what would be the deeper level is the knowledge. So if you have any habit, please know that it is there because it serves you something right now. So your brain is not stupid. Like I told you, your brain
right,
always works for you. So even if it has chosen a wrong habit, it is because it is helping you in some way. So first finding out what is your actual current habit benefiting you, and
right.
then trying to create an alternative resource or the right resource for what it is, the purpose it's serving right now. That is going to make the difference.
So in conclusion, any message for our viewers?
I think it's all about building in a lot of awareness within yourself, about your food, about the people around you, and not being too harsh on yourself, because emotional eating is something that needs to be dealt with a lot of care, with a lot of patience, and not the self blame attitude. So firstly, you have to work on your relation with yourself first, and understand that it does take time to heal your emotions. Don't be in a rush, be easy on yourself. And mindfulness and awareness is, I think, the way to go to tackle things like emotional eating or binge eating and craving. So always being in this state of awareness to understand what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and taking the next action step accordingly.
Okay. Avni ma'am, any message?
Yes, so like mindfulness and awareness plus knowledge, like educate yourself, live for learning new things, learning about yourself. Before you do anything, don't go for the outcome. Go for what is it going to teach you? How is that going to help you in evolution? This outlook sort of changes everything that you do in life, and have holistic goals. That is very important, because emotional eating means in itself is an escape, right? So if you're
Right.
escaping something, that means escape is a behavior pattern that you have. So that means you're escaping many things in your life. You're escaping tough conversations, you're escaping challenges, and lot of things. So uh, educating yourself, identifying these behaviors is the right way to go about things.
Okay. With that, I think we've come to an end of this session. Thank you so much for being with us. And I hope our viewers and me as well, we both have learned so much through this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here. It was great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.